big story evolving late in this week. Thursday, Russell Wilson unable to practice because of a calf issue. Today we have learned that Justin Fields will start at quarterback against the Falcons, and it's a new era of offensive football under new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith.
Dominate every snap, win every rep, beat the man in front of you. That's it, and we go home and we celebrate. That's it. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
The Steelers trying to figure out what are the Falcons going to do offensively. They have a new coordinator. They have a new head coach. They have a new quarterback. They have similar personnel.
Here we go. This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit that sack. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. For the 4th straight opening weekend, the Steelers started a different quarterback. And it wasn't the one most expected when the team completely revamped their QB room this offseason. With Russell Wilson dealing with a lingering calf injury, it was Justin Fields who got the start. And while Fields and the offense didn't find the end zone, they did leave Atlanta with a victory. For more on that, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's standing by with Coach Tomlin. Guys.
Missy, thank you very much. Steelers coming off a big win on the road, 18-10 against a good Atlanta team. Head coach Mike Tomlin is here, and Coach, just look back at that game. I know you stress win the turnover battle. When you guys do, you normally win games, and you won it pretty impressively this time. Was that a big component of this game, especially with a new quarterback in your system?
It's big, obviously, because of the number of new significant people we had in critical spots like quarterback, as you mentioned. But also it's just a function of week one in the National Football League and at every level of football. The routine things sometimes aren't routine. In week one, we had one turnover where a motion guy, disrupted a shotgun snap for Atlanta, and TJ was able to jump on it. Those things are kind of indicative of week one, and thankfully we were able to avoid it. We did have a CQ exchange on the first snap of the game that Justin was able to recover. And so that's why the turnover game always has our attention at the early portions of the year. We know it's a global thing, not only us, but others, and we just wanted to be on the bright side of it, and thankfully we were.
Talk about Justin Fields a little bit. First start, got off to a slow start, as you said, but as the game wore on, he seemed to be very comfortable, especially looking in George Pickens' direction, and who wouldn't be with number 14 out there. That play right before halftime, how significant was it? And that play took a while to unfold.
Yeah, it was a big-time play and a big-time moment. Can't say enough about Justin. It was an uneven week from a prep standpoint. He didn't know necessarily what his role might be, but such is life sometimes in professional ball. I thought he managed it all well, and as the game unfolded, I thought you really felt his level of comfort, his ability to communicate. He had clear eyes in some weighty moments. As you mentioned, that answer to that 2-minute drive I thought was really significant to pull us into 1 point of the Falcons before the half. And then get the ball to start the second half. And so did a lot of good things for us, man. Really excited about his performance.
As important as the turnover battle, also third down conversions. And he used his legs a couple of times on a 3rd and 7 one that comes to mind. How important is that? And, he can help an offensive line given that mobility.
No question, man. Quarterback mobility is an asset. Ad-lib, scramble plays and so forth. But it gets really significant when you add the schematic design component of it in those situational moments. Red zone run game gets enhanced by quarterback mobility. As you mentioned, we had a 3rd down and 7 when we were trying to ice the game, and we were able to go to a design quarterback run and even the numbers, if you will, and get 7-8 yards on that play. I just thought that was a significant moment. As a defensive coach, I'm always highly concerned about quarterback mobility. I got some quarterback mobility to deal with in the AFC North. It's good to have it in our huddle and in our locker room, and we do.
I think we all expect Najee Harris to run hard, angry. He's had angry runs throughout his career, but he seemed to be very angry in this day.
Yeah, he's had a really good team development process, and he was anxious to get started. To be quite honest with you, man, Najee is motivated. He wants to show his capabilities, and It's a big year for him, and so it's exciting to see his preparation for that. He came in great shape. He's had a really good process, and so I don't think that any of us are surprised by the nature of his performance.
Were you surprised by the nature of the performance of both Frazier and Anderson? These are young guys playing against a very good defense. How did they grade out for you?
Both guys answered the bell. Their play demeanor probably more important than their quality of play. I'm always looking for young guys and new guys to not shrink in the face of the competition, to meet it head on. I like the game day demeanor of both. I like the play demeanor of both. I think it's kind of reflective of what we desire, and the play will smooth out as they gain experience. It always does. That's a reasonable expectation, especially when you have the right demeanor, as I mentioned.
You said defensive coach as you are, down deep. That had to bring a smile to your face, that performance, especially with a four-man rush on Kirk Cousins. Is that part of the game plan? Quarterbacks that come back from that sort of injury are usually a little tentative.
You know, we haven't been in the stadium with Kurt a lot over the years, but we played him on Thursday night in Minnesota a couple years back, and it was really the first time that I can remember going against him. And he had a really good game against us. We were blitzing too much. He's a good process guy. And so when you thin out the secondary, when you blitz, man, he processes that very quickly. He nullifies your blitz with execution. And so, you know, we chose not to blitz him a lot at all. And that was probably a more prudent and appropriate approach. It's a similar approach that we took against Phillip Rivers when we used to face Phillip a lot. Those quick processors, particularly those veteran quick processors, oftentimes your blitz works against you because of their experience and their preparedness and just generally how they operate. And so we went to the four-man rush. We were able to win a lot of those and keep 7 men allocated toward coverage, and that helped us in terms of neutralizing his play.
It also helped you with a couple of big interceptions from two guys who made big plays. Dante Jackson came in and did a very good job in that play, and so did Sean Elliott.
Yeah, excited about having both guys. Both guys are new to us, but not new to the NFL, man, and that's perfect for us, man. We needed some guys with a veteran feel to them, and both guys have provided that. Both guys are really good teammates, man. They play with good energy. They're good communicators, and that's just a really good component of secondary play, that cohesion that's really reflected by communication. And oftentimes veteran guys are the catalyst of that. And to put two guys with as much NFL experience in the room as they hold helps us in a big way, as evidence of the splash plays that they made.
Coach, we have much more coming up, including the kicking game and Boswell. What's his limit in the rarefied air? We'll get into that and the Denver Broncos' next opponent all coming up. Missy, head back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. And speaking of Chris Boswell, he is the Week 1 AFC Special Teams Player for his performance in Atlanta, accounting for all of the Steelers' 18 points. Boz is the first in team history to nail 3 field goals of 50-plus yards in the same game. He also, for the second time in his career, and marking only the 3rd time in NFL history, made at least 5 field goals from 40 or more yards in the same game. This is the 3rd time Boz has won this honor. The 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show will be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
The Denver Broncos are hoping to pick up their first win of the season when they host the Steelers on Sunday. Their offense is led by rookie quarterback Bo Nix. In the Mike Tomlin era, first-year QBs are 6-24 against Pittsburgh. And for more on this Week 2 matchup, including a roster move by the Steelers, let's send it back over to Bob and Coach.
Missy, thank you very much. Up next, the Denver Broncos. But before we get into that, Coach, a disappointing injury, of course, to a guy you brought in here and it looked outstanding in the preseason. Cameron Johnson out. Tell us about that injury and what you're going to plan moving forward.
You know, it's a significant injury. He's going to be out for the year. I imagine he's going to have a surgery scheduled here in the upcoming days. But, you know, it's just kind of reflective of football and life. Oftentimes we're presented with challenges, and it's not necessarily what happens to us, it's how we respond to it. And I was just really amazed you know, his disposition and demeanor post-game. He is a tough-minded guy. I would imagine he is going to attack this rehab in an appropriate way. I know we were excited about his acquisition, man. He has been awesome since day zero, not only in terms of what he's been able to do as a punter, but his general approach to business is a very professional and hardworking one that younger guys can emulate. And so I look forward to him getting back to us ASAP, but obviously his season is over.
So you bring in Corliss Waitman. Tell us about that. He's been here a few times.
You know, we've got experience with Corliss. He was with us in 2021. I think we had expanded practice squad rosters and so forth during COVID. It was really an opportunity for him to develop and for us to be a component of his development. He learned how to hold here, and that's an awesome thing. When you replace a punter, not only are you replacing a punter, you're replacing a holder. And the emphasis of his development in that area was here, and Boz was a component of that. And so excited not only about acquiring him and reacquiring him as a punter, but also reacquiring him as a holder to not disrupt that apple cart, which we all can acknowledge is pretty good right now.
Yeah, Boswell was outstanding last week, of course, in so many compartments here. But what about limits? You're going on a place where you can hit him from all over. What is his limit in Denver?
You know, I don't know. I know that when I get in controlled indoor environments, man, I've been around Boz enough to know that it's somewhat limitless in that environment. I've been in Denver less so with him. But Boz has a lot of confidence regardless of circumstance. Whenever we ask him to go out there and kick, he's more than ready. And as a matter of fact, he wants to. The longer, the better for him. But I think that that's a mentality that gives us all confidence in him and really endears him to his teammates. All
right, let's talk about Denver next up. It's a tough matchup anytime you go out in that area. But they have a new quarterback. Bo Nix seemed to be a little, first-time jitters out there last week in Seattle. As a defensive-minded guy, last week you decided not to blitz. Will you decide to blitz a young quarterback?
No, it's really a different set of circumstances. Last week we didn't have quarterback mobility. We had a lot of experience. This guy is very mobile. He ran for 35, 40 yards in the game. He scored a touchdown late that was really impressive with his legs. You see the use of his mobility in their schematics and in situations. They spread you out. And they're not afraid to run quarterback draws or let him scramble when people aren't open. Their play action and misdirection passing game kind of highlights his mobility in situations in the red area. We got to do a really good job of making sure that we're ready to handle the varying launch points. And I think that's our first discussion before we get into the components of how many people we send after him. We got a move-in launch point this week, and that's a different set of circumstances.
You also have a guy over there, I'm sure you know, Family Tree. Patrick Surtain is a guy who's very good at what he does there. How do you approach their defense from your offensive point of view?
You know, Surtain obviously is special. I would imagine that he is going to be following George Pickens. It seems every week you turn the tape on, he is following a specific receiver. Last week he was following DK Metcalf. He just signed a new contract. That contract is kind of reflective of his talents, man. He's one of the top, if not the top cover man in the game. He's all upside. He's got unbelievable pedigree. He's a very good technician. But he plays within a scheme that kind of highlights those talents. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, a guy who's been at it for a long time and done it at a high level. He has an attacking defense. He's aggressive, especially in situations. The environmental component of that is big. We got a coordinator that's aggressive in moments. We're playing in a venue that's challenging in moments. And so, boy, we better spend a lot of time in situational football and ready ourselves for those things. We got a young center. That's no secret. We know it. They know it. The football world knows it. And so all of those ingredients mean we're probably going to see some heavy pressure in situational moments. And so we're excited about readying ourselves and meeting that challenge head on.
You're the oldest tenured guy, but you know a lot about Sean Payton. Those battles go back and forth. What about him as a head coach of Denver? What do you expect to see from his point of view?
Man, Sean is a big-time competitor, man. This one's circled on his calendar for a lot of reasons. Man, he's been doing it a long time. He'll have his group ready in all three phases. He'll throw some wrinkles at us that'll be challenging. He won't blink in the face of adversity or in those thick moments. I think that kind of reflects him and his veteran presence, and really one of the reasons why I'm excited about this matchup. You like to be in big contests, man. Obviously, you like to win them, but winning them and being in them, man, is a component of growth. And you better be growing in September if you want to get the train out of the station and moving in the right direction. And so that's our mindset.
All right, it is the Steelers going to Denver. You'll see it on KDKA, 425 Sunday. We get you started at 11:30 in the morning. We'll come back with the keys to the game. Missy, let's send back to you.
All right, thanks, Bob. And a win against the Broncos would start Pittsburgh's season at 2-0, something they haven't done since 2020. Coming up next, Dante Action Jackson gives us an inside look at his first game as a member of the Steelers. Now it's time for this week's Yin Chat Trivia question. Will George Pickens go over or under 85.5 total receiving yards on Sunday? Head to the Steelers mobile app and answer for a chance to win a football autographed by Pickens. Remember to play every week for a chance to win the season-long grand prize. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
When the Steelers defense headed to Atlanta, they knew the Falcons had a new offensive coordinator and quarterback, so they'd have to do some speculating on what they might see. For one of the newest members of that unit, trusting the game plan and executing led to a timely interception. Here's a sneak peek of the next episode of The Standard.
Sunday Funday, man, live from the ATL. You hear me? They love me in the ATL like Outkast, you hear me? Let's get it poppin'.
Just being from the South, I was always a Saints fan growing up. So that deep hate for the Falcons, I think, is like enrooted in my blood, in my DNA. Just being in an environment like that just kind of brings out the best in you for real.
Cousins gets the snap, looks back, wants to throw it for the first time, fires, almost intercepted by Dante Jackson out in the left flat.
Oh, the receiver curled in, and Dante was right there. Oh, squeezed the Charmin Dante.
I was guarding Mooney, and he kind of came up running like speed, like showing speed, and then he tried to sit down in front of me. When he sat down in front of me, my eyes and my hands were on him. He went to the quarterback, and then I went to the quarterback, and by the time I got there, the ball was right up on me. So, and you know, it's just a bang-bang football play that I wish I would have been able to capitalize on. But the second one, they had scored on that play with Pitts, and we had kind of like a coverage bust.
Corner of the end zone, man is wide open, and it is a touchdown.
So just sideline communication, sideline just adjustments. Once I saw the formation, once I saw what they were trying to do, in a critical moment, last drive of the game, or what you may say.
Gets the snap, back, looking, under pressure, throws, intercepted, picked off. It's Dante Jackson crossing the 35, the 30 on his feet, down inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. The pressure got to Cousins. It's Dante Action Jackson with the interception.
Got a great pass rush, and Kurt was just staring it down, so I kind of made him think I was going to go run with Mooney, and then I just kind of fell off and errant throw, and it kind of was able to just go make a play on it.
And Dante Jackson, who had an opportunity for another interception earlier, comes up and gets a very apropos interception in a critical moment.
And then when I get the ball in my hand, I turn into the best ball runners. Whatever ball runner you can think about in the NFL, that's who I turn to when I get the ball in my hand, and I'm just thinking score.
I'm gonna skate it off on him, real. Get some water. I'm gonna skate it off. You going back out there. I'm gonna skate it off, gang. I called it pre-play. Ask Beans. I was like, Beans, there you go. Get underneath.
More of this unreleased episode of The Standard will be coming your way soon on the Steelers' official YouTube page. Well, Pittsburgh heads out west to a place where they have not won in 15 years. Denver has not been kind to the Steelers, with the Broncos winning their last 4 meetings there. For more on how that can change, let's send it back over one final time to Bob and Coach for the keys to the game, presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Guys.
Thank you very much, Missy. Last week, Coach, you got off to a little bit of a slow start. I would imagine that's going to be one of the keys to this one. Start faster than last week.
It'll definitely help us in terms of how the game might unfold. What I mean is the slower we start, the more that allows Coach Payton to keep his young quarterback out of challenging circumstances. And the key for us, obviously, is to create a situation where those situations get a little bit too challenging for a guy that lacks experience. But Coach Payton knows that. We know that. I'm sure that he'll do a lot of really good things to minimize some of that stuff. They're going to come in with intentions of running the ball. We better come in with intentions of stopping the run. They're going to change the launch point, as I mentioned, when passing, and we better do a good job of minimizing that. Possessing the ball, gaining first downs on our side, and scoring points kind of aids us in all of that. Couple all of that with the environmental component. A fast start kind of quells the crowd. A slow start for us doesn't quell the crowd, and crowd involvement is significant in an environment like this in terms of some of those game scenarios as well. And so for us, obviously we got to play 60 minutes of football, but a fast start in all three phases will be significant in aiding that process.
Last week you played a veteran quarterback, has been around for a long time. This time it's a young quarterback who's only seen one game. How aggressive do you get in trying to go after him?
Again, you get a feel for that after you get in stadiums with people, to be quite honest with you. You're speculating until you get in stadium with them. This is a young guy, man, but he was a 6-year college player. Man, this guy had a career at Auburn before he had a career at Oregon. But it's kind of a reflection of COVID. He's uniquely experienced. He's probably the same age as Justin, to be quite honest with you. I think he's 25. And so he is not your usual rookie quarterback, and we acknowledge and respect that component of it. We'll get a feel for it after we get in stadium and as the game's starting to unfold, and we'll have plenty of time to adjust and do what's appropriate in an effort to win.
Coach, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Again, the game is 4:25 KDKA. We start our coverage 11:30 a.m. For Missy Matthews, I'm Bob Pompeani. Head coach Mike Tomlin. We'll see you again next week for another edition of the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.